Hey everybody, I wanted to do a review of what hammers I think you need as an electrician. I think getting, just to start off, I was in residential for about 2 years, and I think I had about a year and a half with this one, and then I moved to this guy. And one of the main reasons I made a switch from this 19 ounce Estwing to this 14 ounce was just the weight. I think this one is nice. I think it's got a good aesthetic look, but there's just certain things that I think were left to be desired. For instance, it's not the greatest at pulling nails. It's got more of a flat head, which doesn't really help with pulling nails. If you ever need to add like some blocking or something for boxes or stair lights or something, this one's more rounded, which helps out with prying. It's also shorter, which allows you to get into better places. And so that was one reason why I made the switch to that. Another reason is has a very strong neck to the hammer, but it puts weight in certain places that it doesn't really help with your swing. And so I like that this is lighter, but I feel like I hit better with this. It's also got a bigger head, so you miss less. And it's the same length. An argument could be made to get shorter hammers to fit into better places. I think I've seen like Craftsman makes one where the claw can like go forward, but I do like the size of this hammer head, and I'm more of a fan of this. Near the end of me doing residential, there was a guy who walked around with like a 20, I don't know what it is, like a 21 or like a 25 ounce Milwaukee hammer, and like in one hit on a staple, like they would sink like more than half the way in. And if you've ever been working on the new I-beam style of joists that they're putting in, where they've got the 2x4 on the top or what have you, and then the plywood in the middle, and then the bottom of the eye is another piece of 2x4. If you run Romex along the plywood part, it's just like, oh my god, it's just so annoying to try to get a staple into plywood. You have to like start it, and I don't know. It's a whole science to doing it like that, especially when you got a bunch of home runs going through. So he would hit that thing with like a 125 ounce hammer, and it would go in like instantly. I was like blown away. Like that, I think a 25 ounce hammer might be the way to go. But these are two that I have had, and outside of residential work, you do a lot of digging with your hammer as an electrician, and I think having a hammer that you use for digging, an argument could be made that you get like a trench, like a little small pick that you can use as like a part shovel and a part pickaxe could be made for that case. But a lot of guys use a claw hammer, and it works mostly just fine. And having one that you can swing a lot and dig out, a trench for some landscape cable or something, is a great feature for a hammer. And this one, having that extra weight in the handle, does make it harder to swing repeatedly. You could use this as a digging shovel. I don't know, it's like $130 for this guy, so I don't know if you'd want to beat it up like that, but still works. I have actually two other hammers. I think it's a smart idea to have a hammer that has a flat side, and neither of these hammers have that. For instance, I've done a lot of solar installs, and having a flat hammer is flat-sided hammer is really helpful for like the skirts on solar panels, or when you're like trying to find studs on an asphalt roof, and just tapping it with a non-waffle headed hammer can be really helpful. So like, or not studs, but the rafters, that's really helpful to have. And yeah, so those are some other hammers you might want to consider getting. I think mine's from Vaughn. It's just like a really small head. It's like a 16 ounce. It doesn't have a waffle. It's got like a curved claw, and it's got a flat side to it, and that's really nice to have in certain situations. yeah, so that's just some hammers that I think you should get. I also think you should have a sledgehammer. This is like a 4 pound, I think. Yeah, it's a 4 pound from Dewalt. I think they've had a recall on this actually, but personally I haven't had any issues with it. It's got this demo head, which is nice. I don't know if you need to break up concrete for some reason, you know, it's nice to have. And then also there's this for, like, if you're ever in a situation and you're not a guy who has, so many times as an apprentice I was left to drive ground rods with just this, and it just is the worst, especially because I've done a lot of that work in Arizona, Nevada, and California, and the ground is not always soft and forgiving. There's a lot of rocks in the way. The earth is very dry and just the worst to do underground in. So I think having a sledge is a really good, nice way to drive ground rods. Since I hated that so much, I have since got a roto hammer with a ground rod driver on it because it just, I hate this so much. But this one's pretty good. It's got a little lip at the end which helps you catch it. Doesn't slip out of your hand as much. I have noticed that it sort of, like when you swing, it does like sort of dig into your hand sometimes, but I mean, it's a sledgehammer. It works great. You can see some misses that have hit, and some glancing blows. It is like a fiberglass handle or something, or a plastic handle, so something to consider there, that maybe over time that might degrade, but overall I was pretty satisfied with it. I mean, it's a hammer, so it does its job. Yeah, I would recommend getting probably a 25, I don't know if it's a 25 ounce, but the heaviest hammer you can get for driving staples, especially if you work with a framing contractor that uses those new plywood I-beam joists. Yeah, if you're just nailing into, if there's like a top plate that's going down, you're going to a switch, you're going to a plug, you know, this one works really great. You can swing it really easy all day. It's got a big waffle head to catch the staple and not slip off and hit your finger. It's pretty great, I gotta say. It's nice. The weight is where you need it, at the head, and I'm a fan of this. I like this one a lot, but I think a 25 ounce might be the way to go for resi electricians, honestly. You're swinging it all day, you need that extra weight, and it helps out a lot with staples.